In a bombshell revelation, Senator Rubio, who is part of the Gang of Eight, has revealed that UFO whistleblower David Grush is not the only high-level government official to come forward with claims about secret, illegal UFO programs. Before we go further, what is the Gang of Eight? According to Wikipedia, the Gang of Eight is a colloquial term for a set of 8 leaders within the United States Congress who are briefed on classified intelligence matters by the executive branch. Specifically, the Gang of Eight includes the leaders of each of the 2 parties from both the Senate and House of Representatives, and the chairs and ranking minority members of both the Senate Committee and House Committee for Intelligence. To put it bluntly, the Gang of Eight are the most powerful members of the United States Congress, which can, as I understand it, at least theoretically, receive all the secrets of the U.S. government. During this news segment, it kind of came across, at least to me, that it was communicated that Dave Grush only spoke to second-hand witnesses, where Marco Rubio spoke to first-hand witnesses. Yet according to the debrief article that broke the Dave Grush story, and I quote, Grush's investigation was centered on extensive interviews with high-level intelligence officials, some of whom are directly involved with the program. He says the operation was illegally shielded from proper congressional oversight and that he was targeted and harassed because of his investigation. Investigative journalist Ross Coulthart that interviewed Dave Grush just chimed in on my tweet regarding this and wrote, Hi, Post-Disclosure, you are quite right. Grush's evidence to the Inspector General intelligence community was backed by witnesses from within the legacy UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program who testified under oath to the truth of his allegations. That's why the Inspector General of the intelligence community said it was credible. I should also add that David Grush did say he saw photos and documents supporting the existence of a UFO crash retrieval program, and that, as I understand it, at least some official documents were handed over to the Intelligence Community Inspector General.
So the Inspector General of the Intelligence Services of the United States has the information you've got?
Yes.
And more importantly, the Inspector General made a determination about the credibility of your complaint.
They found, after interviewing myself and the subjects and other subjects that I'm not even cognizant on who they were, they found my complaint urgent and credible for the intelligence committees.
This demonstrates clearly that what is being investigated right now and has been investigated is based on far more than witness testimony and just trust me bro sentiments. In other words, things are getting real fast. And I'm loving every last second of it. News Nation is doing an outstanding job covering the UFO issue, and quite frankly, I'm a big fan. Let's go into some of the big points that Senator Rubio shared in the News Nation piece. Rubio conveyed. Witnesses have come forward to share information with Rubio's committee over the last couple of years, and that a lot of these people came to his committee even prior to whistleblower protections being placed. Some of the witnesses that have come forward still work in the U.S. government, and a lot of them are very fearful of their jobs, their clearances, and their career. Rubio also mentioned that some of them are fearful that harm will come to them, and I think here he's referring to physical harm. Now, while Rubio does not claim that these whistleblowers' accusations are necessarily true, he does say the following during this News Nation segment.
I will say I find most of these people at some point, or maybe even currently, have held very high clearances and high positions within our government. So you do ask yourself, like, what incentive would so many people with that kind of qualification, these are serious people, have to come forward and make something up?
Interestingly, this is the same point that journalist Leslie Kean made, who is one of the authors, along with Ralph Blumenthal, who wrote the original article in the debrief that broke Dave Grush's story. I want to underscore that we have not yet entered a post-disclosure world. But my God, there is a lot of fire. And sometimes when there is fire, there be smoke. During the News Nation segment, senior national correspondent Brian Entin asked Washington correspondent Joe Khalil whether or not Rubio said anything about the credibility of Dave Grush. Joe Khalil responded with, and I quote, "What he said was that the Inspector General has found Grush's claims to be at least worthy of more investigation, and that the Inspector General has found that Grush is a credible person. Now, the Inspector General's job in this case is to assess that if they are credible, then they are referred to Congress. And if they are not perceived to be credible, then they don't get to take that extra step." Later, Khalil states, and I quote, "And he, that is Senator Rubio, did say again, a lot of the claims that he is hearing from firsthand witnesses sort of track with what we're hearing from David Grush." Now, it's high time to reiterate what David Grush's main claim is from his investigation, that he derived from his investigation. And that main claim is, and I'll take this from the debrief article that broke his story, and I quote, Grush said the recoveries of partial fragments through and up to intact vehicles have been made for decades through the present day by the government, its allies, and defense contractors. Analysis has determined that the objects retrieved are of exotic origin, non-human intelligence, whether extraterrestrial or unknown origin. Based on the vehicle morphologies and material science testing and the possession of unique atomic arrangements and radiological signatures, he said, "Well, I'll be damned." I want to share some of the zeitgeist that's going on UFO Twitter with you. People's responses to this bombshell revelation admission by Senator Marco Rubio. Let's dive right in. Daniel Miller writes, "We've really crossed the Rubicon. Rubiocon here? A gang of 8 member just confirmed multiple witnesses have come to the committee over the years with allegations like Grush. Some with first-hand knowledge. Some have feared for their safety. What the hell is going on?" UFO Titan responds, "It seemed pretty clear that their motivation for the legislation was the stuff they were hearing. Question is, to what extent has Congress or the Inspector General verified the claims? Such a shame there is no public pressure or media interest. The issue is ripe to be resolved at this point." Daniel Miller responds, 100%. Seems like they've been hearing some crazy stuff for a while. What have they actually done about it? Public and media pressure is sorely needed at this point. What Rubio just said is just waiting for so many follow-ups. UFO Titan responds, "Seems hard to believe they would risk so much going down this path if they didn't know there was a there. Any politician worth their salt would cover their ass 9 different ways before doing this." James Fox, "I spoke with a trusted individual tonight who said Senator Rubio had met with first-hand witnesses who backed up claims from David Grush. Things are really heating up, going back to DC soon." David Bates, "It blows my mind that UFO skeptics who have zero access to classified information, hearings, and have never interviewed anyone who does, can watch Rubio's interview and still maintain absolute confidence that there's nothing to Grush's allegations." Tiny Klaus, "So I guess any defense reporter who considers themselves a real journalist should probably start asking their sources about UFOs after tonight." Jeremy Corbell, "This is an essential UAP transparency admission by Senator Marco Rubio. He publicly confirms that multiple high-level government officials with accounts of personal and first-hand knowledge of working with or on UFO technology have come forward to the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. That some whistleblowers came forward before recent UAP protections that David Grush is not the only person, that there are more whistleblowers not yet known to the public. He stressed that some of these people still do work in high positions of government with very high security clearances, so he is being protective while intaking the information. 3 statements Senator Rubio made that stood out to me. Some of these claims are things that are beyond the realm of what any of us have ever dealt with. Some of these UAP whistleblowers, frankly, are fearful of harm coming to them. You do ask yourself, what incentive would so many people with that kind of qualification have? These are serious people to come forward and make something up? Note, we are talking UFO retrievals, full crafted materials that our government and allied nations are currently in possession of for exploitation and derivative technology interrogation. And we are talking about whistleblowers with first-hand access to these crafted materials. Most of this testimony was given in the classified setting. Glad to see this finally spoken publicly. I'm also aware that more on this will be public soon. We are in unprecedented times, and I'm here for the show just like you are. And it seems that things are heating up really rapidly. And I hear that there are going to be new hearings very soon and that they will be explosive. I suspect that at least with some of these upcoming hearings, new whistleblowers will be part of them from legacy UFO programs. It's going to get real interesting real fast. There's a lot more to go in 2023, and I think it's going to be a good time. Please do not forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You become a patron. You can become a YouTube member. You can give me a one-time donation. All those potentialities can be accessed in the description box below, or you can just slap a like on this bad boy, and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.